what better place to answer the question of what attracts me to the Southwest than here at Santa Fe del Bac Mission, about 9 miles or so south of Tucson. And when I visit a place like this, it just reminds me so much of the Spanish heritage of this area, the culture, the tradition. And this particular mission here, founded by Father Xavier of the Franciscan Order of the Catholic Church in 1692, is the oldest mission in the Southwest, and known as the White Dove of the Desert. In my second novel, Secrets of the Medicine Pouch, Danny and Joseph make an amazing discovery here in the sanctuary of this church. So this is actually the location of the climax of my second story, and it's typical of many of the churches and the style of churches here in the Tucson area. There are a number of other churches that are not quite as magnificent as this one is, but certainly very beautiful structures. And I visited a few of them and been inside some of them, and there's so much the ornateness of Spanish colonial architecture that you see and find in these buildings that in itself is an inspiration to my writing. But also the landscape that surrounds the mission here at Santa Fe del Bac. It is open desert here, but you can kind of imagine what this area might have looked like a couple of hundred years ago when the mission was in its infancy at this particular place, and how important this church and the mission here was to the local people that lived here. Of course, most of the structure that's behind me was built by Tohono O'odham labor, starting in 1783 and not completed until 1797. So the Tohono O'odham people have a great deal of stake in what you see here at this mission. And of course, the school that Danny and Diggs attend in my stories is just next to the structure here, Santa Fe Mission School. So this is part of the Santa Fe district, which is actually on the reservation. So where we are right now filming, and the mission itself is on the reservation. The main part of the reservation being quite a ways to the southwest of here. So it's another aspect of the Sonoran Desert. In the first place where we filmed, it was much more in a natural setting. This is a man-made setting, but it doesn't change the fact that it's really a remarkable place, and reminds so much of the varying heritage and history of our country. In this particular case, Spanish colonialism, dating back into the final years of the 17th century. So those are the things that attract me to the Southwest, and in particular this mission here at Santa Fe del Bac. It's a very special place. The second question that you asked was about why I write young adult fiction. And I think to answer that question, you write about what you know. You write about what you know. And in my case, all of the years that I spent in the classroom, 30-odd years that I taught middle school kids, I think gives me a unique perspective on what it is that they think about, what it is that they like, dislike, what kinds of stories they are interested in reading, and certainly it gives me some understanding of kids speak. In other words, the language that they use, the way that they talk to each other, and how they interact with each other and also with adults. And I think those skills that I learned in the classroom and working with both students and parents as a teacher gave me some insight that was important for me as a writer as well. So I think the fact that I have a love for kids that are in the adolescent age group from say ages 10 or 11 through about 14 or 15. Certainly helps when I sit down to write, because I can put myself in their position. I can be in their position and remember what it was like to be a kid, to be their age. And that certainly, I think, makes a difference in my writing. They, you know, it's kind of like, I mentioned something about optimism the last time around, and in this particular case, I think adolescents always exhibit an optimism which kind of translates into what it is they like to be reading, and the books that they choose to read. So I hope those answers are sufficient. Thanks so much.